Welcome to Masters of Self University podcast, your highest source of sacred truths and universal wisdom. Hello, beautiful souls. I'm Rachel Fiori, mystic, spiritual teacher, psychic healer, and founder of Masters of Self University. Join our journey of soul transformation as we deep dive into this latest episode. Hello, mystical beings and beautiful souls. Welcome to Masters of Self University podcast. I'm Rachel Fiori, your host for this episode. Let's talk about Jay Shetty, shall we? If you do not know what's going on or what has gone on regarding Jay Shetty or who he is, then my invitation to you is to pause this and take 3 minutes, look him up, find out who he is. He is a spiritual influencer. Okay. I absolutely will not call him anything other than that. He is a spiritual influencer. And a lot of things have come out about him lately. Now, before I continue and say anything, I want to make sure those of you who know who he is, maybe you followed him, maybe you listened to him, all this stuff is coming out about him. And maybe you're in judgment over it. So as I continue this, and as you continue to listen to this episode, I want to make myself very clear. If you need to pause in order to drop into your heart and alchemize judgment of another human being, then do it. Okay, that's part of everything that I teach people how to do energetically. How to notice that you are in judgment of somebody versus just speaking the truth about them. There is a difference. Lower levels of consciousness can't fucking tell the difference between judging somebody and bashing them and putting them down and simply speaking the motherfucking truth. Because we're not used to the vibrational frequency of truth on this planet. That's the problem. Which is why we can't identify when we are being spoken to from the vibrational frequency of truth or when we're just fed a bunch of bullshit. Brainwashing bullshit. Influencer bullshit. I'm not referring to Jay when I say that, just in general right now, okay? So, my invitation to you is, as I move through this conversation with you regarding this topic, we do not and should not, as awakening beings, be in judgment with any person. Heal your judgment. I don't care what these people have done. I don't care what you see in the world, how dark and terrible and negative. If you carry judgment, you are carrying superiority programs, which means you're carrying inequality programs. You are not the way of equality. And you're harmful when you have judgment and you spew that all over. So you're not the way of harmlessness and gentleness. You are not a divine being when you are so filled with the judgment that you are filled with. And it goes without saying, when you project that judgment onto other people, it is even more fucked up. When you are making the assumption, because you have yet to heal the judgment within yourself, you then assume when you listen to other people talk and speak the way of truth, you are projecting your own unhealed judgment, your inability to not judge another no matter what they've done. That doesn't mean not hold them accountable. Not the same thing. But your unhealed judgment gets projected onto other people. It deafens you to have the ability to hear the way of truth. All you're doing is projecting judgment onto others. I see it so much coming to the surface in so many people, especially lately. It's part of healing and elevating, guys. It's part of transforming. You have to see the judgment that you are, but heal it. There is no judgment as I speak truth in the rest of this episode. And I don't want you to be in judgment either. Okay? I am not going to go into details and articles and what's been uncovered and discovered, and Jay Shetty isn't really a monk, and how long, where did he really, study, and how long, and what he lied about. Okay. You can go look that up on your own if you're curious. And this is going to sound a little bit silly or maybe a little bit cliche. I don't mean it in a cliche or in a silly way. I mean this kind of for real, like for educational purposes, to learn something from this. Go down that rabbit hole for a little while. by all means, okay? But I want you to understand something. Anybody who learns a bunch of crap, reads 1,000, spiritual books, learns from certain people, I don't care who they are, true spiritual teachers. I don't care if it was your monk that taught you and it was that teacher. I don't care if it was other teachers in the world that you learned from, and you gain a bunch of knowledge and then you spew a bunch of knowledge out in order to sound like you're somebody, like you're a teacher, even when you're actually not. Guys, not everybody on this planet's a goddamn teacher. Just like not everybody on the planet is a heart surgeon. Same fucking thing. Not everyone is a heart surgeon. That wouldn't even make any sense if 8 billion people on this planet were all heart surgeons. Just because you're an influencer, that is not a teacher. Okay? So now what I am seeing starting to come to the surface, and I do see this part of 2024, and I see some of this extending into 2025. We'll see. But part of what's happening is the dismantling of the pseudo spiritual world out there, where you've been led to believe, you're told what you want to hear. People who learn from others and just regurgitate their knowledge and regurgitate what they learn, that isn't a teacher, guys. That is a student who has learned how to become an influencer, who's learned how to make money off of people. That is surface level stuff. It is not transformational anything. That's not what transformation is. It's just regurgitating a bunch of stuff that you learned, and then you have, your podcast or your website or your business or and we are so superficial and surface level that that's what's been happening over the last handful of years, decade, really. Okay. More than a decade, probably at this point, Christ almighty. And there's no judgment. Remember, I went over that at the beginning of the episode. There's no judgment. Unfortunately, the collective humanity has had to go through this, all the surface level fake spirituality garbage that is nothing but superficial bullshit, where the only thing you rely on continues to be something outside of yourselves. Okay. And then pretending it's me, I'm the one with the power. I am powerful. My sexuality is powerful. Really? Because God's twerking up there in the fucking clouds to heal herself. Like, it's all stupid. It doesn't make any sense. It's so ridiculous what's taught out there and what's offered to us. And even when it seems to be a little bit deeper out there, the majority of the time, these are just influencers trying to feed their fucking spiritual ego, guys. When I tell you authentic spiritual teachers, it is the hardest fucking path you could go on. Healers that are the most elevated healers. No, not because you have 65 certifications and shit and you're a healer. I'm not talking about that. And that doesn't mean I'm putting it down either. I'm not, never. You want to go learn all these different things? I think it's wonderful. Explore, experience, learn more, try different techniques and modalities. I'm never putting it down. But if you think that's what makes you a healer, you're missing it. And I'm not blaming you or judging you or putting you down. I'm educating you. There is a difference. What do you think has been missing in the collective as we all wake up together? Is true, actual, elevated, authentic spiritual education, mystical education. Okay, we are lacking. We are in scarcity of it. Hate to put it that way, but maybe that'll wake you up a little more if I do. And why is that? Guys, there is a real reason for that. That's why I'm saying, don't you ever fucking misinterpret that I am judging and putting down. That's your fucking program to heal. I'm never coming from that. I'm coming from an elevated level of education that I am offering to you. And why do I offer it here for free on a podcast? Because we desperately fucking need it, and I have it. And I'm in the way of selfless service. And then don't you dare take that a step further and say, oh, but you people have to pay for your services. Yeah, I got to fucking feed myself and put a goddamn roof over my head too. And if somebody did heart surgery on you to save your fucking life, I do spiritual surgery on people, mentally, emotionally, to save their lives. Yeah, we deserve to get paid for our shit. Wake up. That is not the same thing. It is not the same thing as people turning spirituality into a business when they have no business calling themselves a spiritual teacher. And again, not a judgment. Why have we been missing for centuries the mystery schools, the deep spiritual teachings that if that was still activated in our societies, you would just grow up with all of this stuff. And I'm not talking about the spirituality that most of you are akin to. I'm talking about spiritual teachings that barely even exist. Spiritual teachings that I can barely even offer to anybody because they're not ready. They can't comprehend what I'm saying because we've been dumbed down and brainwashed to such a severe degree. So we got to bring y'all up a little bit at a time, If you're insulted by that, you got a lot of fucking healing to do with yourselves. I'm offering you the truth. Okay. We live in a sick matrix world where you have been dumbed down and all of this has been removed from society for a damn reason, people. Do you understand? That's what our world's become in order to turn you all into slaves. All of us turned into slaves. And unfortunately, one of the negative consequences of that is we've lost the ways in which true spiritual teachers ignite people into awakening and then guide them and support them throughout living their everyday practical lives, taking this esoteric stuff and living your human life with it while becoming an enlightened being. We've lost that. It was removed and erased for a reason. And so we live in a society that became so materialistic, so individualistic, so greedy and selfish that here come the pseudo spiritualists making millions of dollars off of crap that they read and learned from other people and simply regurgitate it. That's not a spiritual teacher. That's not a true, authentic teacher that you should be fucking learning from, unfortunately. And they're all out there. And I do see the downfall of them really being dismantled and coming down, and you all waking up to this surface level bullshit and realizing, oh my God, I've been led completely astray. This is just another effed up matrix and prevented me from actually waking up for real. Yeah, that's what it's done. Just because you're spiritual and you know a lot of spiritual knowledge and you use spiritual lingo and you say namaste and bow to people, whatever, it doesn't mean you actually are an awakened being. Right? Teachers who are here to elevate you for real are never going to fucking tell you what you want to hear just because you want to hear it. They're not here to stroke your spiritual motherfucking ego. You can't curse. Be nicer. How fragile are you? Are you kidding me? That you're still trapped in that bullshit. An authentic spiritual teacher is never going to tell you what you want to fucking hear. They're going to tell you what you need to hear. They're going to give you the fucking truth. Okay? Guiding you and teaching you is what spiritual teachers are here to do. And yet you all had to experience all of these surface level, what I call pseudo spiritualists. Like they're the pseudo spiritualists. Like they're just fake. They're just influencers who have grabbed on and learned how to make a lot of money from, being in the spiritual paradigm. And it's unfortunate. And it's been really frustrating to watch all these years. And yet humanity has chosen to absolutely have to go through that in order to then have contrast and learn. Think about this. When we're at low levels of consciousness, we still need the contrast. We have to, oh, this is it. Oh, let me go explore here. That's fine. That's your journey. You need it. Your soul wants you to go through that. That's fine. But you go through the contrast of what isn't real, mysticism, what isn't real, authentic awakening and elevating your levels of consciousness. So you go through all the fake pseudo people where they're just there to stroke their spiritual fucking ego and make millions of dollars. Do not misunderstand, sidebar. Making millions of dollars, there's nothing wrong with that. That is not against spirituality. Wealth and abundance is not anything that says you can't have that and be an authentically spiritually awakened, highly conscious being. Don't you dare throw that bullshit in there. I am never for 1 second, those of you who say that like a spiritual person, they shouldn't be making millions. No. They shouldn't be fake is what they shouldn't be. There is nothing wrong with anybody making a large amount of money and being abundant and wealthy. There is absolutely nothing wrong with that. That in no way, shape, or form are you more spiritual, more elevated because you're dead fucking broke. Like, come on. Have you not elevated out of that part yet? That's ridiculous. People say they shouldn't be making millions. No, they shouldn't be lying to you, only giving you surface level bullshit fucking solutions, acting like they know more than they do, regurgitating a bunch of knowledge they gained from other people. They're not an actual spiritual teacher themselves. That's why they shouldn't be making money off of you. However much money they actually make off of authenticity and being truthful and honest, and all of that, it's not a big deal how much money people make. Quite frankly, if you haven't realized we live in the upside down world, the people in the world who should be making the most money are the true, authentic, powerful, true spiritual leaders in this world. They should be making the most money because they're the ones transforming lives at the deepest level possible, the level of the soul. Those are the people who should be making the most money. The spiritual influencers, the fake people, the pseudo people who tell you to fucking take plant medicine 107 times in a month. No, sorry. They're fuck all what they're talking about and teaching you. Not to mention it's actually dangerous. It's really scary, without the proper education and I'm not even going to get into that. But if you think you're just going to be awakened and highly conscious and you're spiritually and you're enlightened because you do plant medicine all the time, you're following the wrong fucking people. And whoever that is that you're following, that you listen to that bullcrap from, I guarantee you within the next couple of years, they're going to fall down too. They're going to be dismantled too, because this planet is waking up for real. And that means you have to gain the ability of divine discernment. Who are the real teachers? That's not putting them on a pedestal. Don't you ever misunderstand my teachings. And you're only going to misunderstand if you're coming from your own ego. If you're not conscious enough yet to understand what I'm actually offering to you, right? It's not about putting people on a pedestal. Don't go into your ego over it. But it is about gaining divine discernment of who you're following, like who you're learning from. Let me put it that way. That's probably the best way I could put it. Who you're learning from. What sacred wisdom do they have to teach you? Are they just regurgitating a bunch of shit that they've read themselves that you could go read yourself? Guess what that makes them? It makes them no different than you. They're a student like you are. They're learning like you are. They're awakening like you. Well, I mean, not actually awakening. They're gaining a bunch of spiritual knowledge. Hopefully you're listening to this. You're actually awakening, right? Probably anybody listening to me, you're actually awakening. Because I cut right through all the bullshit. I don't do the airy, fairy, woo-woo crap. I go like with a sword straight through, and I let you know, here's the dark, here's the crap, here's the negativity, here's what you need to see in yourself. Let's alchemize that, and let's elevate to who you truly can become. Simply put, that's how I work. Okay? I'm not here to stroke your spiritual ego. We need less ego on this planet, not more. So when my invitation to you is to be very careful, not just with who you learn from, but I also want you to be very careful if you have been following and learning from someone like Shetty, and then you're like, holy crap, he's full of shit. This is all crap. Like this was fake. This was surface level. And if you woke up to that, it's okay to have feelings about that. It's okay to be frustrated or angry or appalled or whatever it is that you are. but alchemize it and understand that your soul thought you would benefit from having that contrast, from learning from somebody like that and seeing the surface level nonsense. And then like, that wasn't a real actual teacher. That was just an influencer making a shit ton of money off of us. Yeah. And that's okay. And it's not okay, but it's okay. The way of surrender. Oh, I don't have to have any resistance to this. I can see as the way of truth what this is. I can see it. I can learn from it. I can grow from it. I don't have to judge that person. I don't have to start making all these accusations and judging and putting down and fucking cancel. Just stop learning. Do you understand you have more power than you show up behaviorally a lot of the time? Just stop learning from the person who you realized isn't necessarily there for your highest good. Maybe he's not necessarily there for your highest good. He's trapped in his own spiritual ego, most likely. I'm not saying that to judge him. I don't pretend to know him. Okay? I am not throwing a criticism or judgment in any way. I'm offering you a teaching because this is what's happening. And I'm seeing this. I'm seeing this happen. I'm seeing things like this start to unravel in the world. Okay? And just, guys, gain discernment. Learn from it. What a beautiful teaching this is for something like this to happen. Don't judge the person. You learn from it. It is for you to learn from. It's for you to learn from. It's for you to elevate so you're not that. Do you understand? Stop being like these people, the fake pseudo-spiritualists that are just nothing but influencers regurgitating a bunch of spiritual crap that they read and learned and they repeat. And then they make millions off of you. Just don't be them. Do you understand? You have a choice here. You experienced them for a reason. What a beautiful soul lesson that is. You have experienced them. You've been exposed to them. Maybe you follow them. Maybe you listen to them. And I'm saying them because it's not like there's just him. There's way more than one, right? You have been exposed to them for a reason. Your soul thought it was important to gain contrast. So use it as that. And don't be like them. Those are sometimes our best teachers of what not to be. Look, when I grew up in my childhood, you know, I had a stepdad for my childhood until I went off to college, who was an abusive, crazy motherfucker. He was an extraordinarily abusive lunatic, okay, and mentally ill. And oh my God, did I learn from him what not to be? What beautiful contrast in order for me to become what I've become and what I will continue to become. Do you understand? Ooh, I know I don't want to be that because that's abusive. That's monstrous. That's blah, 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 blah. You can say that without judgment because it's the fucking truth. Speaking truth doesn't mean you're judging. And if you're judging, you're not the vibrational frequency of truth yet. But you can see that and say, I know my childhood, I saw that. I saw all these things from the adults around me. I was like, oh, I'm not that. I can't be that. That sucks. I don't want to be that. And so I just didn't fucking become that. I got to see firsthand how harmful. I got to see how superficial certain people were in my life. I got to see how disengaged, how selfish, how abusive, how, you know, all the things. I got to see it and witness it. And I got to experience firsthand how goddamn harmful it was to me, emotionally, mentally. It was brutal. I got to experience that contrast. Do you understand? And I got to learn from that. And I was able to say, I'm going to choose a path to not be that. And I'm going to blaze a trail now, teaching people how not to be those things. What can you become instead of being absorbed into and sucked into all this fake, superficial, surface level bullshit that when you think you're waking up, you're actually just being sucked into the pseudo-spiritual matrix. Y'all needed to go through that. Some still do. Needed to go through that to gain contrast. Okay? You don't need to judge. You don't need to go into negativity. You don't need to strengthen your own ego because you're shocked and you're angry and you're like, fuck, and make the mistake of saying, because listen, the powers that be put people like this in front of you. The elites of the world, you think they care that those people exist and they're making millions of dollars? They want those people to exist. Have you not woken up to that yet? You're awakening for real, remember? They're out there in the world as these big, massive influencers for a reason. The elites, the powers that be that brainwash you and control the world, want them to be here doing what they're doing, making millions of dollars off of you. They want them to do that. It helps keep you unconscious. It helps keep you in the fake pseudo-spiritual matrix of nothing but ego. And if you're still trapped in that ego, just in a different way, you won't wake up for real. And you won't join the revolution to transform the energies on this planet. You won't join the revolution to take down all of these things and dismantle all of these things. You won't do that because you'll just be like, I love enlightened plant medicine. Let's have our next, tantric orgy together and dress up like animals. And you'll just stay doing that stupid fucking shit forever. I'm not judging it. You do whatever you want. I don't care what you do. I don't care. I have no attachment to any of it. What I'm here to do is part of my soul's responsibility is to teach you the difference. As a mystical teacher of oneness conscious, I'm here to teach you the difference. So that for those of you who want to wake up for real and choose a different path, the path of authentic awakening and enlightenment, you have the opportunity to do that. That's it. It's education. You can't wake up for real if you're not educated in all this shit, can you? Can't be dumb and blind and call yourself a genius. Let that sink in. Okay? So, learn from this. Choose to learn. See it for what it is. Don't judge. See it for what it is. Learn from it. Don't be that. Sometimes our best role models in the world are here to role model what not to be and what not to do and what not to become. My stepdad and my mom were phenomenal role models of what I did not want to become. They were beautiful teachers in that sense. In that sense, they're teachers. Right? Think about that. Are they what a mystic is? No. Different kind of teacher, right? As a mystic, I'm a very different kind of teacher. It doesn't mean we don't have again, language is limiting. It doesn't mean we don't have these other teachers out there, but I'm not talking about the teacher that guides you through authentic awakening, enlightenment, oneness consciousness. Is very different. Our mystery schools have been removed from the planet for a reason. We don't have our mystery schools in place in the way they used to be in enlightened societies. They've all been dismantled because of the way that we're being controlled and brainwashed and enslaved. They've removed all of that. The best we can do at this point in time is what authentic teachers like myself are offering. Masters of Self University. We have to start somewhere and work with what we have to work with on this planet at this point in time and just grow it and expand it from there. And the more people that authentically wake up for real and they realize, because they have this beautiful contrast of what deep transformational work actually is, what elevating and enlightenment actually is, means, feels like, sounds like, looks like, right? You have somewhere to go. And the more we do that, and the more we do that, and the more we do that, you have these beautiful contrast opportunities out there to learn from, so that you can then learn the divine discernment that will help you choose what path is best for you. Make sense? That's all. Use this as a learning tool. Don't go with the hate and the judgment. It just shows how low you are in your level of consciousness. Right? And when you share it, maybe you're somebody out there, look at this. Let's talk about Jay Shetty. That's fine. Do whatever. I'm not here to tell you what to do and what not to do. I'm here to educate you. There's a difference. But my invitation is do it without goddamn judgment. Don't do it from a place of superiority. Do it from a place of learning, of growth, of healing. Share the knowledge if you want to share whatever you're doing on your social media platforms, fine. But my invitation is come from the ways of oneness when you do it. It doesn't mean don't speak the truth, and it doesn't mean you sugarcoat shit. Not one and the same. Speak the truth. Do it without internal judgment of that person or that situation. Okay? There are things in the world that you'll speak about that are absolutely horrific and outrageous, and you'll speak with fire and you'll speak with passion. You can do that. You can do that. It doesn't mean you're judging. So don't judge. Okay? I hope this was helpful. I hope this gave you a more elevated, enlightened perspective of the scenario. Learn from it. Use it as a learning tool and keep going on your own healing path of awakening and enlightenment. If you need help, go to mastersofselfuniversity.com. Get a free consultation. Okay? We're here to help you. Otherwise, any feelings, any awakenings, any epiphanies you had, if you thought from a different perspective when you heard this, please comment below. Share that with others. Share it so that we can read it too. Is there anything that you realized when you heard this? Were you somebody who was able to hear all of this, meaning not from me, not this podcast, but hear the situation about Jay Shetty come out? Are you one of the ones that actually heard that, and then you were like, okay, I'm not going to be in judgment. This sucks. It's bullshit. Whatever your opinion was, but you were not in judgment. Were you? Please comment below if that's the case. If you were in judgment, oh my God, share that too. Were you in judgment, but you realize with us having this beautiful conversation, so to speak, in this podcast episode, were you able to realize and shift into a non-judgmental place and view this? It doesn't make it right. I'm not saying it's okay. Don't ever misunderstand. It's not okay. I've just taught the whole episode of why it's not okay. It's surface level, pseudo-spiritual, regurgitated knowledge bullshit. It's not okay. But were you able to, maybe by listening to this today, were you able, if you were in judgment before, are you able to like, hey, I let go of the judgment. I can learn and grow from this. I can just observe this from a non-judgmental place. And I just did that in this episode. Were you able to do that? I would love for you to comment below and tell us if you were able to do that, or share anything that your heart's desire below if you feel like you want to, if you're inspired to do so. Thank you so much for listening. I will see you in the next episode. Bye, everybody.